What's up, YouTube? It's Ken again, coming at you on a rainy Saturday morning here. Today, I am working on rebooting a CV axle. Actually, maybe two of them. We'll see how the first one goes. This is really foolish of me, I'm sure, but I kind of just wanted to have the experience of doing it. This axle here is the driver's side axle on an 05 Odyssey. I really don't know how many miles it has, but probably somewhere around 140. And so, yeah, I probably should just get a new one. You can see here, it was leaking grease, I'm pretty sure. So I'm gonna cut off the clamps. I've got new boot kits back here from Napa, not a sponsor. First time I'm ever doing this. So you can watch me struggle through it. Definitely a gloves operation. These were leaking for, I don't know, maybe 10 to 20,000 miles. So the axles themselves may not be any good anymore. Get my hand out of the way so I don't stab myself here. If I get in there and I find that there was just no grease, then you probably won't see this video. Just want to get this clamp lifted a bit here. If I can hold it open like that with a screwdriver, might be able to get my side cutters in here. It's like a four-hand operation. There we go. Could have used four hands, I mean. Oh yeah, I might have said this is the outer, but this is the inner tie rod, and I say that because it's got this circlip. All right, now for this other one. I don't know if I can quite squeeze in here with the side cutters without lifting it too. Finding a way to do that. Huh. The struggle is very real. Maybe I dimpled it out enough to clip it now. There we go. Okay, with those clamps off, I think I can just slide this off. Yeah. But I guess I gotta cut the boot. No, wait. I'm being silly. This just needs to come up off of that, like so. Okay. That does look pretty dry, actually. Oh, and I meant to put it back in the way that it was in. Let's assume it was like that. Yeah, so I don't know how much grease this is supposed to have. I wouldn't call it dry, but I wouldn't really say that it's ideal either. Right, let me get a rag. I don't really see damage in here though. I don't even see the wear marks that I saw in other videos. I'll try and get a good shot of that once I get this cleaned out a bit. You know what? I need a shopping bag. Hold the phone. Shopping bag and like a whole nother roll of shop towels. Okay, yeah, I do see the wear marks now, but they don't look very deep, to be honest. I'm going to use these snap ring pliers, Lang 3491s. I think they're the right size. I'm guesstimating. Whoa. I was going to say that does a job beautifully, but it's not quite. There we are. Let's set that off to the side. I'm pretty sure I could reuse that. And then, yeah, that just comes right off. I'm going to set it down like so. I really should have marked. Dang, I am like goofing this up so bad. I guess it doesn't matter on the splines, it matters more on the cup. All right, anyway, that can then come off. So you can see the wear marks there, but honestly, they don't look that bad to me. Maybe I have an untrained eye for such things, but yeah, they don't look bad. I feel pretty confident actually reusing this. All right, I went back through my video, and I think that I've got this in the same orientation as it came out. I just figure, I mean, in theory, this should all be completely symmetrical, that spider gear there. I think that's what that's called, and this cup. But, you know, so that if you get that, like, you know, that one, let's say it was in this slot here, if you put it here, it might work fine, but considering that these have, you know, again, about 140,000 miles, I put a mark here and then one on top. You can kind of make it out right there. So that I put it back in the same position, at least I think it's the same position. I did a best effort. But what I did is I took out as much grease as I could with the shop towel, and then I dunked the spider gears into soapy water like this. And after that's done, I'll pour in some of the soapy water into the cup, just like I did this one. And then I'll rinse it out with some fresh water, both parts, and let them dry completely. So now I'm gonna get the outer boot off. This one's still in good shape. Almost tempted to leave it on, but I don't think that would be wise. You know, if you're in here, you might as well do both. But yeah, it's a shame because this one really looks good. The rubber feels good too. Still feels really pliable. Let me just see. I may actually leave that on. This one would be the outer. It is stiffer. Of course, that could be a difference between OEM and this Napa part. Okay, well, I've made what likely is a foolish decision, but a decision nonetheless, to not replace the outer axle. And the reason I'm not doing that, and maybe I should, especially because of age, this is off of 2005, like I mentioned. I've got a 2010 as well, and it's still on the original CV axles. Actually, I'm gonna go check that real quick. And if I don't post anything on here, then those axles are fine too. But this is a little bit less pliable than the aftermarket that I bought, which makes sense with 20 years of age, but I don't see any cracks, and I don't see that the clamps are failing. I don't see any grease outside the boot. You know, it's that saying, don't fix what's not broken. So this was easy enough to get off and to work with. I'm gonna put the aftermarket on it. I gotta actually make sure that this fits on here. I think it will. Let us find out. Oh yeah, that fits. All right, I'm not gonna worry about that. I'm gonna get this on. I probably ought to put a little bit of grease. I think it'll slip on either way though. Yeah, it slips on just fine. Some grease might have made that a little bit easier, but again, it slips on well enough. Okay, and I made sure to put the clip on first so that, you know, that's in there. And now I'm just going to pack this full of grease, put this back on, I guess I'll do that now. I'll go ahead and put this on here. And pop on the snap ring. Alrighty, well, I've got the clamps on and they are in the grooves as appropriate. And I'm going to start with the passenger side. I figure if I mess this up, well, I need the driver's side. So if I mess up the passenger side, I can just redo it and it's not really too big of a deal. But I'm going to take the Lyle CV boot clamp pliers. Well, I think that's on there. Okay. Here goes this one. So, to get this out, this is just their retaining clip, or, well, I guess it's in place of a cotter pin. Hopefully that shows up on camera pretty well. You just pull that out. And then actually this is the maiden voyage of my Icon flex head reversible ratcheting wrenches. And this is a 19 mil. So I'm just taking off that castle nut. And then once that's off, I will try and get this on video, but I'm gonna pop this on there and pop out the ball joint. All right, so simple enough. You can see, I hope, how I've pulled the boot down a little bit to allow the jaws of that tool to nestle in there. The idea is to not rip this boot, so I'm hoping I didn't do that and don't do that. That's the goal. I don't want to have to replace this ball joint. It seems to be working just fine. But the top of the tool is on the stud here. But now I'm just actually going to hand crank this bolt here. It's a good idea to lube it, so I'll throw on some silicone real quick first. And then just hand crank it and it'll make a loud ping noise. So I'll throw the camera off to the side here as best I can. It's a little tight of a quarters to have you in there on it, but I'll do my best to show this off. All right, here goes. I hate this part. I like to stay pretty clear of this just in case something pops my direction. And there it goes. Here's the setup for getting the upper sway bar end link off. So we're gonna see if, with the vice grips clamped, I'm hoping I don't rip that boot, if I can get this off. I'll try and do it real time here for you. This is a 17 mil nut, I do believe. And I'm gonna need a deep socket. All right, I got the big gun here. Casualty. Light fell. That worked. All right, success. Hopefully I didn't rip the boot. Let's find out. Looks pretty good to me. These are OEM links if memory serves. I don't think I cheaped out on these. I'm pretty glad I didn't. They're still good. Not a lot of play, really no play. That's good. If you have play here, if this is like really easy to manipulate, these are shot and you would need to replace them, but mine are good. All right, I'm gonna bend up this little indent on the CV axle. That's probably good enough. I think this impact wrench will get it off either way. So here we go. Indeed it did. Now, I don't remember having to mess with the tie rod end to get this out. Yeah, okay. So this does come out. Okay. So I've got the axle out and just kind of draped off to the side. And I'm hoping that I can now use the proper pry apparatus to pop out the axle. Hey, I think I got it. Maybe that's out enough to where I can pull it. Yeah, there we go. Got it. All right. Now, I honestly thought that axle would give me a lot more trouble than it did there. Well, YouTube, it has been probably 5,000 miles, 2 seasons, and at least 6 months later. And we're back on another rainy Saturday of all things. So the CV axle reboot went extremely well. No leaks, I actually just checked it, and everything is smooth sailing. Really happy with the results. The outer boot that I didn't install is still completely fine as well, from everything I can tell. Yeah, I'm kind of assuming that this is a fairly common problem where those clamps just stop holding, or I don't know, the boot just gets loose somehow and grease slings. Anyway, I'm really happy with the results. I'll post on screen, because I didn't show it for the install procedure, the torque spec for that nut for the CV axle. You do possibly need to get a new one. I've heard that people do reuse them, but because you have to indent it down into that little space, you know, on the CV axle itself, I opted to get a new one. I think that just makes the most sense. But yeah, I can't see myself reusing one of those. I like saving money, but I'd rather just have a new one. So anyway, also too, there is a torque spec for the ball joint castle nut, but yeah, I don't think I torqued that down. I don't know how you would get a torque wrench in there. Remember that I'm a DIYer, so don't take that advice, do your own research, but I'm just letting you know what I did. With all that said, as always, if you like the content, please give me a thumbs up. It helps promote the video and helps the channel out. If you like this content and want to see more of it, please do consider subscribing so that you see new videos that I release. And as always, if you have any thoughts, comments, or questions, please feel free to post them in the comment section below. And with that, we'll wrap the video. Thanks for watching. Peace.